Hi, welcome to TheatreCast, presented by the EdReach Network, giving educators a voice, a big voice. You've reached episode number 64, being recorded September 28th, 2014. This is a show where theater teachers and professionals share their passion for theater trends, share practical advice and tips, and ask questions of some of theater's most innovative collaborators. I'm one of your co-hosts, Nick Cusumano. I'm a theater and film teacher in St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Miss Danielle Filas.
Hello, everybody from the thriving metropolis of Central Ohio.
And we just wanted to welcome you all back.
It's
It's
been
been
forever.
yeah, and just wheels to the pavement type of beginning school year. But we are back on track and wanted to share some cool things that should make your life easier. Because I find as a theater teacher, it's trying to balance that time between rehearsal, family life, and getting the grading done that you need to get done.
And every once in a while, sleep is good,
Yeah,
I
sleep.
hear
Yeah,
as well.
sleep is good. um, and you want a little bit of time to recharge. So we've got some things to make life easier for you so that you can carve out that time or rehearse that one section that you need to rehearse the 12th time because the student's still not getting it.
That sounds like you're talking about something not just abstract, but maybe real.
Well, I think we've all been
I think we've
down that
all,
road where, oh, I've given this note more than
yeah.
once. And we just work our way through that, and somehow miraculously you add an audience in and it clicks in. But while we're working through that way, sometimes you need to get home to get the next thing done uh, and taken care of. So we're going to share some things that make life a little bit easier when it comes to grading. And also, a little bit, we'll touch a little bit on data because in my district, that's a big push. As a tenured teacher, I have two areas of evaluation. One is my choice. Well, you have this whole area, but two things that you're going to focus on with your evidence and go into great detail about. And one is data to improve student learning, and the other one's of my choice. Guess which one I picked for my other one? Technology. Surprise,
Well,
surprise.
shocking.
um, and so I've learned a little bit about pivot tables, and um, I had to be a quick study this last week to learn about them, but it's kind of a nice way to do some comparison stuff and to make stuff work. But I have to put on my left brain hat, and sometimes that's hard. I think of myself fairly balanced, but sometimes when I'm okay, I'm going into spreadsheets. That's all left brain.
Just put on show tunes while you do it, and you'll be
Yeah.
okay. Balance it out. I do. I think data kind of gets a bad rap sometimes with teachers because it's so easy to use bad data or to use data incorrectly or to use one simple metric to try to analyze or evaluate something as complex and unquantifiable as education can be a struggle. But there are some tools out there that can, I think it's valuable to be able to think about proof, measurable outcomes for what you're doing and how well you're doing it. I think it's a good thing. And showing it to the students too, I think,
Hmm.
can be really powerful for them.
Yeah, it gives them a sense of where they're at. And if you just look at, I think, some of the better things, and we're still not at this stage yet, and I don't know if we will switch, but there is something to be said for standards-based grading because you know where the student's at. Because a 90 doesn't tell me anything, but if I looked at here's where they're proficient and here's where they're not, and yeah, we're stuck in this big how do you get into college?
Hmm.
Mess. And what type of things and how is that graded? I imagine before I retire, something will change along that.
Probably before the end of the year.
I don't, not in my district.
Oh, they're talking about it here in Ohio. There's a pretty strong backlash against all the good old Common Core,
Yeah,
and a fair, better than fair chance that they might reject it after everybody scrambled to get Common Core standards.
Danielle, we lost you right after you said rejected.
It was the man. The man cut me out.
The Common Core police are clutching us.
I know. I'm not advocating either way. I'm just reporting what's going on. I'm a good person. Help me. No. But yeah, the standards-based grading can be really valuable. It's just you have to be careful what you measure because you get what you measure. So I think that's why it's so tough and why standards are constantly changing as everybody wiggles
Yeah,
around
over
trying to
time.
figure out exactly what it is we want to be measuring.
hmm But
that's
I
that's
think,
a whole can of worms.
but I think as a teacher and in that learning process with your students, if you have the luxury and time, working through this, you know where you want to take them, but if you include them in on that process of, okay, what is a good performance? We know one when we see one, but let's break down the elements, and if you have them help you through that, quote unquote help, as you guide them, um, then they have buy-in because they help through the process because it's something they've done together as class. And you might ask, well, what about do we need to see people on stage? Is that something that we should grade with?
Mm.
How important is that? And ask them those type of questions if they're missing something. Um, and if you take the time to go through that process, then that helps everyone get on the same page. Um,
And beyond the grade, once they go out into the quote unquote capital R, real capital W world and start to audition or be maybe they're going to be directors, they need to have that metacognitive background so that they can create on the fly standards, if you will, for what they're doing in their own artistic lives. So I think it's super important for them to think about how they assess themselves.
yeah, and this that process of evaluation because um, you have to take that time to reflect because then they can see what was their strength, what wasn't their strength, what can they improve on, um, and find out, oh, if I change that one little thing, how much a big difference that makes.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not about I failed, but just trying. It's more of an exploration and a search for what is the best way to do this, or what is the best way that we know how to do at this time and place to share what we know. So we're gonna start with an easy one. Now, at times, and I feel like sometimes there's two different rings, especially when I am, doing my theater teacher hat on, is there's the nuts and bolts, and then there's acting, and so we need to know the nuts and bolts of the areas of the stage, because if I tell you go to upstage right, you need to know where upstage right is, so that we can help tell the story.
And it needs to be something you know in your bones and quickly too. So it's got
Mhm.
to be something that you just know.
And so out there is this great tool, and I'll do a quick screen share. There's actually two great tools um, that are available. One is called Flubaroo, And as you probably know already, we're big fans of Google Forms. And
Our secret is out.
what's really nice about that too is Google Forms, after it feels like, well, what I've been using Google for 8, 9 years, or since 2008.
Golly, yeah. Yeah.
They've had the same look and almost the same themes, um, pretty much, but now they have blown that out of the water, and you can do almost anything that you want with them. You can brand it, you put your own school logo, you can put your picture all over it, you can do a lot of different things, which I think is really nice on how you choose to use it. Um, so you go through and and I'll show you what forms look like just a little bit on the back end too. If you go into Drive, go to New, and we're gonna let it load up. And
And it
Google
is under
Forms.
more.
Yes. But depending how much you use it, it will work its way up.
Yep.
So this is the back end of the form. This is how you create it. So I can put my titles, I can give progress bar. The big thing, is here's modern, up to date,
Yay.
cool um, themes. So you're doing Jekyll and Hyde. There's your little science one.
Yep.
Um, you do in Oklahoma. Oh no, I thought that was uh,
It's
Chuck
hard,
wagons,
hard,
but
hard to
no,
see.
it's bicycles.
Oh, okay. They
um,
all bicycle Oklahoma. I could see that.
so you have a variety of different themes, but you can make your own, which I think is so awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and forms are linked to spreadsheets, and so you can work that data till the cows come home. Um, but some of the nice things is you have multiple choice questions. You have text, paragraph text, so you can use this for essays. Multiple choice, check boxes, good for surveys and checking in, because check boxes, they can select more than one.
Whatever.
It
Yeah.
doesn't force them to choose one answer. Choose from a list, similar to multiple choice, but if you have a ton of things, then you can do it that way. Scale, I'm definitely use scale for when I grade performances. Grid, you get both areas. I don't use that as much because it doesn't give me
It's
a numerical number.
it's good if you have the same scale for many questions. So if it's
Yeah.
the same, most don't agree or disagree
Yeah. Or
completely.
if you're getting more of an opinion type thing.
Mm-hmm.
For grading, I use scale because it gives me a number. And when you use grid, it gives you the choice.
Right.
So it doesn't plug that in, so I can't have it do the math for me. And I'm all about the shortcut.
Yeah, yeah, but there are some things you can do to your spreadsheet to make it
Yeah, you can.
and instantly transform into numbers if you want.
Yeah. Um, so that's some your choices of answers. You can also, which
That's
I
my
like on the multiple
favorite.
choice, is shuffle option order to get those pesky kids who like to cheat.
And I
It just
love
makes it
that on
slightly
the
order.
and on the paragraph text, you can tell it that they have to put in a minimum number of
Oh, that's
words.
brand new. Oh,
So
that's awesome.
if they don't put in that number of words, you can also make it come up with a text that says, "It looks like you didn't give a very complete answer. Go back and add some detail for me."
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
which is great. Although I did have one student who figured it out and just put a whole bunch of periods, but hey, it's your grade, kiddo.
And also in there, it'll give you summary responses. Um,
Makes
and
pretty little graphs of all of the answers people gave.
and what I have done within my district, our homecoming nominations are all Google-fied now.
Nice.
So what we do is the kids have to sign into their district Google account and so that forces them that they're, not cheating.
Mm-hmm.
And they then pick the kids that they want, and all the kids' names are plugged in there that they want to nominate. And so then I use the summary of responses, and if that's not working, or if that um, we did run into a little bit of trouble with summary responses because we ran a thing called remove duplicates because those couple of kids who tried to cheat the system.
Right.
Um,
And the response didn't remove them, right? Or the
yeah,
summary. Yeah.
summary didn't remove them, so
Yeah.
I just used pivot tables to figure that out. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is your basic Google uh, Google form. Now, some other things: section header, page break. You can add an image in. So, grade 4, you just do your tic-tac-toe board for stage directions. You put it in there, and then I would, for that one, probably do pull from a list and put question 1 through 9 down there and
Mm-hmm.
have them match that. Number 1 is downstage right, 2 is downstage left, and they just use that pull from a list. And then you can put a YouTube video in there. So you can have them watch performance, give some feedback. What did they notice? What didn't they notice? All those type of cool, fun things.
You could, I would guess, even do it on their own performance. If you recorded
Yes.
it and popped it up there, you could do that too. I like too that you can use branch logic on the Google Forms as well if it's, I believe, a multiple choice or
Yep.
choose from a list question. You can make it go to another page. So if I wrote something like, say I was doing homecoming and I only wanted seniors to vote for seniors, juniors to vote for the junior court, my first question could be asking them what grade they're in,
Mm-hmm.
and then it takes them automatically to the right page.
Yep. That's what we did. So here's the plain one, but see, you have my untitled question. I can go and edit the form because I'm the one signed in, and you can plug these into websites. So if you're using Google Sites, it's quick and easy.
Mm.
You just go boom, put this form in. I don't even have to go into anything special for that. I can, if you click send form, you can click the embed code, pick my size. I just cut and paste that, open up an HTML box, and put it into my website.
And
Boom.
big caveat here. Note that Nick used the send form button and didn't just grab the URL at the top of his edit form screen. I've had a couple teachers try to include a form, and they've sent it to their students, but they sent them the editable form. And what then happens is students go and think they're answering your questions, but they're really just rewriting your form. So
you don't want to give them this. This gives them the actual
live form. Yeah.
And then, but now you can also cut and paste and send it to your students through email. If you have a group email, it'll send it to them too.
Or tweet it.
Or tweet it, or Facebook it, or plus it, and look to invite other editors. You could also do it right here. Sometimes I do. Most of the time, I'm doing forms on my own, but not always. But more likely than not, just me because I just use it for tests right now. I use Google Forms for my final last year, my film studies class. It made everything a breeze. Boom, boom, click, done.
And my theater director, teacher, head of the theater department at Village Academy, friend of the show, Rick Clark, has started using forms as student feedback tools. So they'll watch each other perform a monologue, or in his speech class he uses it, and they all pull up a form while they're watching that he's created that's got the assessment categories, and the students then assess the people who are up there working and performing their speech. It all comes to him in a spreadsheet, and then he sorts that and sends all of the comments and the sort of summary of what each student did to that student. So by the end of that day, the student will have performed a monologue, and they'll receive feedback not only from the teacher but from their peers. And they get that all year long so they can kind of see what areas they've improved in as they go.
Yeah, and if you want to um, make that even look prettier, you can use an add-on called Autocorrect, which is like mail merge, and it just makes things look pretty. So
Yeah.
you can pull that information from your spreadsheet and have it make a little bit more visual sense. But if you're dealing with objective type questions, ones where there only is one answer, um, for the most part, um, then Flubaroo is your friend. Is one of your friends. We're going to show you two great ones. So Flubaroo, you go through, you create your quiz, and so as I'm kind of walking our way through this, you've gone through, you picked your questions, you have them take the quiz. You as a teacher, you create an answer key. So
And you
I
do
type in
that
my
by
name,
taking the quiz yourself, right?
taking the quiz yourself, finding your actual answer key if you get confused during any questions, which I have done once or twice. For that one one fact that you don't talk about except for this one test the whole semester.
Yep.
um, and I always get confused on teasers and tormentors. I'm like, I always have to remember which one's which. Um, when we're talking about curtains. So you assign it, you give it to them. I plug it into Google Classroom, which we'll get to in just a little bit. And then I go up to you go up to the top and you click get add-ons, and you install this once, and so it's going to install it. Then you go up and grade assignment, and it'll ask you a few questions, like if there's questions you don't want graded, so that would be questions like their name, where, that are bonus questions, because sometimes I'll do that because I don't want to have them deduct a point, but sometimes I give bonus questions, so I won't have that graded. Or essay questions that I have to grade myself by hand or
Yeah, it does not so
by
happy with those.
by virtual hand. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way. um, but it's still great to have all that other stuff done. Great. I don't have to go through and grade everything else. I just have to grade the essay question. I can handle that. And then what it does by magic, by Google Magic, it goes through and grades all those questions for you. You give it a point value, and any kid who gets below 70, their name is highlighted in red. So if we can, and I'll zoom in a little bit with this. So if we see on their sample thing, this Polly Pocket, she got 25%.
Oh, Polly.
Yeah. So lets you know, oh, I probably should review with Polly and touch base with her and say, Polly, what's going on? Why don't you understand where downstage right is? Can you
And the
raise your hand?
highlighted yellow questions, that's an
Yeah.
interesting feature too, yeah?
Yes, the highlighted yellow questions is good for you as a teacher and also for your students, because did you word it correctly? Because if I'm trying to think, if
If it's
less than
highlighted in yellow, it's one of
less than
the
70% of your students
yeah,
got that question wrong, or if 70
right.
more than 70% got it wrong, I'm not phrasing that right.
It highlights the questions students struggled with.
Yeah,
So everybody unanimously sort of struggled with those two questions. So you either go back and look and see, like Nick said, is that something I forgot to cover, or is it something that happened right after the fire drill,
yeah.
and so they weren't really paying attention, and it gives you a chance to do a little formative look at what you're teaching.
And a nice thing, and this is what I do because our thing within my district is we have to do pre and post testing. So I will have them, I give them 10 points. They go on, they look at the questions, they fill them out. They get 10 points for that, but I have it graded so that they know where it's at, and then I send them uh, the test back to them, and it's highlighted green the ones they got correct, and red the ones they didn't. I could give them answer key. In this case, I want them to take some initiative and go look through their notes and see, and let them figure out um, how to fix that question. And so it's great. It's kind of like a study guide for the test, the actual test for a grade. Um, so I enjoy doing that. The view report gives you a nice little quick histogram view of what's going on. And then there's edit help tips. You can give student feedback. And there's a little bit with that. Um, and then if you want to just kind of explore it, you could try it on a sample assignment and look at it and just check it out. It's really easy to use. I don't have to deal with Scantrons or like smart machines. I don't have to wait in a line, and I don't waste paper. Because,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, if
super
you ever,
quick.
yeah.
It's super quick. And now that it's through add-ons, through the spreadsheet itself and through add-ons, it's so much easier than it used to be when you had to know a little bit about how to add a script.
Another one to check out is Super Quiz add-on. And this is brand new, and this is even more powerful because it can give you allows you to do some really detailed feedback. Um, and written by Ali Trussell. And so it's called Super Quiz, and it's also an add-on. And you can go through, you create the Google form, fill out the form with the correct answers, install it, of course, create the tabs menu on another sidebar. So within this one, you can kind of break it down for them and give them really specific feedback. Pardon me.
Pay no attention to the voices behind the microphone. Yeah, I haven't played a super quiz yet. I'm
Um,
on. Everyone sees me looking over to the side here. I'm on my other screen adding on, so I can take a look at it. It looks very cool. I think
and begin automatic document email configuration. And can do some comparative stuff, and he is just continuing to add more stuff to this.
awesome.
Um, so that's a little bit about that one. Did you want to share with us real quick about Kahoot?
Yeah, this has taken my school by storm. I showed Kahoot, which actually has two different websites. The one you'll want to go to is create.kahoot.it, or Nick, if you want to go to our show notes, I think I put in one that's the link to that's got like the demos and the screenshots on it, so it's probably what we want to show. But for our listeners and our viewers, create.kahoot.it, and what it is it lets you create either discussions or surveys or quizzes. I've been using the quizzes a lot, and you can add images and all sorts of things like that to it. Oh, Nick, you still there?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I just wanted to get the
Yeah,
screenshot up there if you could. But I thought maybe I lost you or you froze. As long as you're still there and you haven't been spirited away by the tiny voice we heard, we're good to go. So it allows you to create basically multiple choice questions. You can have toggle the number of answers. Sometimes you can even have two answers be correct if you'd like to, because sometimes that's handy as well. And you can add videos to it, images to it, all sorts of things. And the cool thing about Kahoot, two big cool things. One is your students' devices, their tablets or phones or laptops, whatever devices they have in class, become their buzzers, their answering devices. What were those called? They used to be the instant response. I forget what they call them. That you had to, yeah, you had to buy the little clickers.
Yep.
Well, now any device they have is their clicker, and if you can make it play scary music or whatever, it gives them 30 seconds from the time the question goes up. So you project it up on the board for them. They actually log into Kahoot.it. It gives them a special code created that day in your class, and they have 30 seconds to answer it. And it not only measures if they got it right, but the first kiddo to answer it gets more points. So being fast and right is even rewarded more. And it turns your classroom into a loud, hooting, hollering, people standing up next to their desk screaming kind of environment. It's super fun. They get really engaged with it. I shouldn't just say kids, because I used it at our first professional development for our school to test everybody on what they knew about Google tools, and the teachers were insane. So competitive. It makes kids put in a name, a gamer name for themselves, or a nickname too, so they kind of have fun with that. When it's all done, it shows the leaderboard and shows who won, and you also have an option, if we get the screenshot in, I think it'll show it somewhere, where it can download the results to your computer. So it downloads it as, I think, an Excel spreadsheet, which if you're using Google tools will rather neatly convert into Google spreadsheet, and you can look at that those results. So even if little Johnny didn't do it super fast, you can still see that, yeah, he got every single one right, or you can see the kids that didn't get any right, and you can kind of assess from there. I suppose you could grade it. I've only used it for formative assessments thus far, but they love it. They beg for Kahoots. Even my seniors, I thought I'd use it with my middle schoolers and they'd like it, but even my seniors keep saying, when are we going to have another Kahoot? I have another teacher who is having her kids create them, because the kids can also get a Kahoot account and start creating their own quizzes as well. So it's a really exciting classroom tool. It ups, I guarantee you, it will up your engagement, and it's free. Really fun, easy to use, sweet interface kind of toy. So, Nick. Okay, I'm thinking we may have lost Nick. I think I'm still good to go here. But I'll see if I can't get this.
Oh, sorry, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, so check out Kahoot, and I would try to screen share it myself, but my connectivity is really slow for some reason.
And if you want to find a little bit more detailed about Kahoot on another EdReach show, you can see called EdGamer. You can check out the podcast done with co-founder Jamie Brooker and really get into deep about it. So check it out. I think it sounds like something fun. I did not know about this, so I will be using this within a week or two. Because, just think, if you have kids with phones or tablets, how great would that be, and quick and easy.
We did it for a parent meeting too. We had our middle school parent meeting, and we tested their digital citizenship know-how, and the parents were super competitive. They had enough fun just making up their names, their nicknames. They had a blast, and there were people standing up and shouting at the back of the room, and it was a lot of fun. And I think it gave them a really experiential way to understand why technology in the classroom is more than just a really expensive pencil. It was something they definitely couldn't do without the technology.
Can you see my classroom screen?
Let me turn I was going to try to screen share because I thought you were spirited away. Not yet. Right now, it's just a very handsome picture of you.
Let me screen share again. Maybe I turned that off real quick. Now let me try that again real quick, and we'll see if that works. Because I think this one, which may or may not work for us because of the way Classroom is set up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my incognito screen. Can you see it?
No, I can't yet.
Okay.
Nick's talking about Google Classroom, which is Google's newest baby.
Okay. Well, actually, I can get into my school. Well, let's still probably won't share. No, I can. I got it. Well, I think I have a way to figure this out.
So Google Classroom is just in its nascent stages right now. It was only born in early August to the world, and they're not calling it a classroom management system or a learning management system yet. But it's not unlike some classroom management systems that are out there. But it's got the feel of, I think, a social media site in some ways, in that it's got a stream. So as you post assignments or announcements, which are currently the two things you can post, it streams down your classroom page. The nice thing for students is that students can join classrooms for their different courses. Hi, students can join courses for their different classrooms, and they have one-stop shopping to go look at everything that's going on in their classes, which is really nice. The other great feature is the not only the announcements, which allows you to post just words or videos or links or documents for students to look at, but also the assignments feature, which allows you to post assignments. And one of the coolest ways to do that is to post a Google Doc for students. And there are a couple different sharing levels that you'd be familiar with if you use Doctopus or G class folders, but you can share one for students just to look at, so like a syllabus or a study sheet for students to look at. You can post it as one document that everybody can edit, so if you're doing collaborative notes or something like that. And you can also share it so that every student gets a copy of this template that you have. So if you're having students write essays or longer written pieces, everybody gets their own copy. What's super nice about it is it's titled what you want it to be titled with their name after it. There's a due date that you choose, even a due time, so you can make it at the beginning of class if you'd like to. And you can, once the student turns in the paper to you, they're switched to only editing power, or viewing power rather. You have editing, or the new feature suggesting, which I even like better, power over their document until you return it to them with their grade and their comments, and then they once again own the document. But you can toggle it back and forth. You can set a new date if you want to do drafts with them, and kind of ping pong the assignment back and forth with each other. I think Classroom's in its baby stages right now, but it's already a really powerful, really elegant solution for turning in papers and that sort of thing. I found it's been a great time saver. My students love it. I don't know about yours, but my students love it, and even my more tech nervous teachers have just instantly embraced it. I think with a few tweaks, if you're listening, Google Classroom Designer people, we could adopt it as our main method of communicating with our students Right now, all of our teachers create a Google site, which is clunky for a bunch of different reasons. It would be so nice if Google Classroom, for instance, would sync with Calendar.
Yeah,
Doesn't?
and be able to do a public because that's what I want for
Yeah,
mine is I need a place for parents to know
yeah,
what to do when, and I
yeah,
want to use Classroom to do that, and I want that part to be public
yeah,
so the parents can see. I mean, if they want to work with their student and tell them sign in so I can see what you're doing, great.
yeah.
But as a parent, they want to see what
What's happening, what the
what's
rehearsal schedules
happening,
are.
what's going on,
Yeah,
and if you just had a way to share the calendar out.
yeah, it would be great. And also, if they could park some of the announcements and assignments on the page and not have them move. I mean, right now, all you can do is post
Yeah.
chronologically, so it can be a little tough to find things. But I would bet money even that they'll fix a lot of that in the upcoming uh, time span. I bet they're already working on it, the little Google elves.
Yeah. And I know another big feature request is co-teachers.
Say that again. Oh, co-teachers. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
So
great to be
right now
able
it's
to.
pretty much one teacher.
One teacher, that's right. It would be very nice to have co-teachers as well. Yeah.
But those are the biggest things about it. Unfortunately, we can't show you the nuts and bolts of it as well. Because one, if I signed in, I'm using real student data, and that's a no-no. But also, as you saw, I dropped out of the call because I signed out of my EdTech for Theater account and tried to sign in my school one and lost me in the call. So, um,
I'm looking to
'cause
see if I can give maybe to Alice Keys
I can go to Alice
first.
Keeler's.
Yeah, yeah.
My
Because she
suggestion
has
is
screenshots
one,
and
yeah, is go to alicekeeler.com, and
yeah, here she is.
she is
She's
she is
I'm a
a
little
whiz.
fangirly about her. I'm not afraid to
Yes.
say it.
No, yeah, I am just so jealous of how she can just get brain. This seems to work like 10 times faster than mine. I'm like, yes, I understand this, but I can't create something that quickly. um, but she's got a ton on Google Classroom. And her newest one, which is just yesterday, I mean, she seriously posts like twice, two, three, 4 times a week about Classroom, is numbering assignments as a way of keeping it organized.
I'm
Um,
back. I won't tell
and
them again.
talking a way about, um, doing an assignment title and
Yeah, the naming
convention just to make things
convention is so
easier
smart.
because it's going to make it easier for you within Drive.
Yeah, and for
Um,
your kids to find things too.
yeah, she just is uh, amazing. Here's some things that she put out that you can do with Drive. Collect data, Google Form. That's how I do. I actually, all my quizzes they're not assignments. They are announcements, and I
Yeah,
just put the
with the
link to the
form.
Google Form in there, and that's how I get do those.
Hmm.
So I get what I like about it gives students a central place to go. I'm not sending them here's this random link, even if even if I
Hmm.
use Bitly and whatnot. I just one central place to go. And
Hmm.
then I can copy it to multiple classrooms. So if I was trying to do this on the website, I'd still have to create it for 2 different other web
Yeah,
pages to do that.
yeah,
Share
yeah.
multiple
It's
classrooms.
really easy to post in multiple places on.
Collaborative note taking. Create Google document, assign some students, and you're dividing up 4 areas of uh, theater history, or we're talking about medieval plays. That could be, okay, you all have miracle plays. You have, um, they all start with them. Miracle.
I
My
wish
brain,
I
my
do
brain
wish
just.
now that you're saying that, I really do have another feature request, and I think I've seen people wanting that too, and it's the ability to create groups within classrooms, so I could share one document to one
Subgroups.
group, yeah, and
That
one
would
to
be great.
another.
a little bit more of our Doctopus switch.
Yeah.
Um, display student work, so you
Yeah.
can announcement and share that out with students.
Yeah.
One student, one slide. I got this idea. Alice Keeler was from watching on Twitter, and all of a sudden she said, "I'm doing a webinar for ITSD mobile learners," and so I popped in there, and I never had thought of this one before. I don't know why. It's many years of Google. Oh, you're working with vocabulary. Each kid creates a slide. They have to put, a picture of it, a definition, and a use. How easy is that to create? Oh, never thought of it.
Yeah, we did that for Dante's Inferno for for the layers of hell. Everyone got their little corner of hell.
Target parent phone calls because you can use the who completed the assignment, who didn't. Polling. Um, share a document with the class. Know who edited a collaborative document because they're already signed in, so it makes that easier.
No little anonymous animals.
No anonymous chupacabras. Link to a website, like I said, place to go. You could post questions for when they're not in school. They could peer help, distribute notes. Like I said, I have saved so many trees in my classroom. I want
Yeah.
more classrooms to do that. So I think we waste far too much paper in this country on
Yeah.
stuff that ends up in the trash.
Yeah.
Share informal learning. Email the teacher. They can, quick email me there. So just tons of great things. Um, and just whenever anything's new, Alice is just right on top of it.
Yep.
Big fan.
Yeah,
Um,
me too.
and emailed her, and she gave me some stuff on data to, um, and said check out pivot tables. And I will talk a little about pivot tables. And the best way I can describe pivot tables is sometimes you've collected information in Google form and your data's in column form and you need it to be row. But you can go in and set up a pivot table and then it'll take that data and make it work for you.
Which to anyone who doesn't know, does not anybody who does know and has worked at all with spreadsheets, that's revolutionary. That's like the clouds part and the angels sing.
Yeah. um, and so you can use that to kind of manage stuff because we did a big professional development survey, and so I learned pivot tables in the night because they're like, "Can you make this make sense?" And I'm like, "Okay."
Sure.
And luckily,
Where's my Starbucks card?
I had bought a $10 class from Udemy uh, called "Making Pivot Tables Work for You" or something like that. And so I
Perfect.
did a quick study, watched the video. I'm like, okay, I think I got this figured out. It took me a little bit of couple of trying, but then I was able to have it work for me. And so I took that information and it tabulated it for me.
That's terrific.
And you can use it for sums, and like I said, I also used it to figure out who the homecoming court was.
Very important.
Uh, because then it went through and actually after we did the delete the people type thing. So it's just some of the things out there that can help you manage the paperwork beast. I would suggest looking up AutoCAD. I've talked about it on the show before. I won't take much time to go into it, but if you've done mail merge before, you can use that information you collect from Google Forms or in a Google spreadsheet and plug it into a Google Doc, and so you can create individual documents for all your students. So great way of giving that organized feedback because sometimes looking at the numbers visually doesn't make sense to students.
Mhm.
So if you can put it all together for them, uh, it makes it really nice. We also use AutoCAD for, uh, we did a dinner theater, so I would send them a response back using AutoCAD saying, here's your people, plug in information. We'll see you on that night.
And we did
We'll
it
throw out some
for
confirmations.
we had it as if parents had trouble with a student, if teachers had trouble with a student, we had a Google form we could fill out saying when, where, what kind of trouble, what action was taken, and then we had to go through Autocrat to produce a narrative of that could be shared with the parent so that they would know what went down at school that day.
Yeah, so there's definitely just a lot of features and some cool things that are coming down the pipe. Uh, they will be if you're really deep into it, triggers hopefully will be coming back for those type of things like autocrat, so on form submission, um, and managing students or helping manage students that way. So you had that instant response type thing.
That was
Fill out
so
the form. It's
nice.
gonna go to people. You can use it to pull, like if you're doing a scheduling thing. Uh, Hopefully that feature will come back where it'll pull it out on that form submit. Um, so there's some cool things coming. Sites is going to get a big revamp
Much
sometime this year.
needed.
It's already had some love given to it. It should be a big revamp. And of course, there's always new stuff coming all the time from the Googleverse and elsewhere. And one more thing I wanted to share on, and it's always good that you just sometimes poke around. Um, on in Google Chrome Web Store, I just found this out today, and it was kind of cool. And I'm gonna do a quick share, and we'll probably just wrap up with that, unless I have forgotten anything. Uh, so if you look at this is called Story Charts, and great for when you're working with plot.
Ooh.
And looking, it kind of reminds me a little, or it comes off to me a little bit more English teachery, which is not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not, or so much for, um, so you have your value and your time. So we have, and they kind of break things. Their view
Cool.
is, actually, I've got a whole bunch of different ones in here, but we'll
I'm
look at
so
this top one.
excited. Oh,
So we have the external plot in Casablanca, my favorite movie. It is a bonus question. Ugarte kills the Nazis, steals exit visas. Then we
spoiler
go.
alert.
Yeah. Nazi officer Strasser arrives in Casablanca to stop Laszlo. Escape quest again. Ugarte is arrested by Renault. Strasser threatens Laszlo. Laszlo in the cafe crowd sings La Marseillaise in front of the Nazis. Favorite moment still sometimes chokes me up. Depending how tired I am. If I'm really tired, it'll get to me. Escape quest. Laszlo's arrested. I'll stop there, not to give up more for those who
yeah,
have not
because
seen.
Casablanca is such a secret.
Rick's patriotism. My students haven't seen it.
That's
They
true.
like it
That's
after.
true.
His patriotism, he hides the visas. He refuses help Ugarte. So you can put these major plot points on here and looking at it in several different ways. So we have Rick and Ilsa's love. So Ilsa arrives at Rick's cafe. I have my own, and I I'll do one of these story charts. So a great way to Rick. It's a bonus question, or not, but it's an essay question. So how does Rick's relationship, uh, Rick's actions coincide with the U.S.'s involvement with World War II? So for me, you have Pearl Harbor, which gets us involved in the war, and I correlate Pearl Harbor with Ilsa showing up in Casablanca.
Mm. You
And
just blew my mind.
So this is called Story Charts. It's a Chrome Web Store thing, and I thought it was kind of cool in an interesting visual way of working with plot. It gives you some more just different choices to work with, and
Yeah, that's all kinds of cool.
so it's kind of cool, kind of a little bit different. So it's called Story Chart, and I think it's just brand new. So,
Nifty
uh,
doodle.
so that's kind of some cool things to tame the
Donnie
pages.
Darko's on there, just saying.
Yeah.
The
Of course,
Godfather, nice.
of course, it's dealing with movies because these are more wide, um, bigger things that are kind of. But I do, it's got a pretty nice little sample. Oh, Death of Salesman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll see. Oops. This one's not
Oh,
in English.
that's okay. That doesn't have to stop our students. They can use Google Translate and figure it out. Good
Something
assignment.
tells me I know what that is.
Dun dun dun.
So we'll put that in our show notes. We remind everyone to be sure to check out the other shows on EdReach. How can people find you on the interwebs, Danielle?
You can go to Twitter at Ms. MS, Filas, Ms. Filas, or check out my blog at edunerd.blogspot.com. What about you, oh bearded one?
You can find me at edtech, the number 4theater.com, and my blog at edtech, the number 4theater.com. I think I said that twice. So for my Twitter handle, there's no
So
.com.
nice. So nice. You had to say it twice.
And be sure to check out, watch us on those things, see what upcoming shows are coming up. Um, we've got hopefully some interesting guests coming up. We'll be talking about medieval plays towards the end of the month, so that should be kind of a cool thing. And I've got some other ones that we have to get scheduling figured out,
Yep.
and that of course sometimes takes time. So as soon as we
People
have
are
that,
busy.
yep, always a show. So we have to catch people between our shows and their shows. So be sure to check it out, and if you have an interesting story you think other people would like to hear about, please contact one of us. We'd love to chat with you. So check. We'll see you later. See you soon, and adios.